So, this is one of my favorite designs from Generation 7. It is one of the last Pokemon that's not legendary to be revealed, and I think they've saved some of the best for last. Its name is Dhelmise, which is obviously a mixture of Demise for its ghost typing, and Del, which I assume is something referencing that it's an anchor. So if any of you all know what that means, please let me know in the comments. I would love that. But anyway, this is potentially the first Pokemon to get Stab typing attack boost, the Stab same type attack boost, for 3 different typings. It gets Grass and Ghost from its typing, and then Steelworker boost the power of Steel type moves, and I assume that would be a 1.5 times boost. So if we look at its stats, it actually has considerable bulk with 70, 190. It's actually very powerful. Excuse me. And its attack is really high at 131. That's one of the highest attacks in the game without being boosted. Also, its special attack is not that bad, so there could be some potential for a mixed attacking Dhelmise in the future. Its speed is low, but that'll actually assist it in the future for different sets, depending on what moves you decide to run on it. So, as far as weaknesses go, it does have 5 weaknesses, and they are fairly common typings, but it also has 6 resistances, well 4 resistances and 2 immunities, and they are all very common typings, at least in the Gen 6 meta. How it turns out in Gen 7, we'll just have to wait and see. So, as soon as I saw this base 131 attack, I thought Choice Band. Super powerful, nothing can switch in on him, bring him in on something that can't knock him out, and just obliterate the next thing that switches in. So I was thinking Adamant or Quiet Nature, depending on whether or not you decide to run either a Trick Room set or a Gyro Ball set. Max out his attack, max out his HP, and give him a little more either defense. That 4 extra EVs just needs to be put somewhere. And an interesting move that this Pokemon actually gets is Switcheroo. So if you decide to bring it in, your opponent switches into, say, their defensive wall, you can give it a Choice Band and pretty much nullify any chance it has of healing or doing any kind of stalling shenanigans that may or may not exist in Generation 7. Other than that, I just gave it its 3 stab moves. Power Whip, either Gyro Ball, Heavy Slam, or Iron Head, depending on what's best for the situation. And then Shadow Claw was the best move. It also gets Phantom Force, but I'm just not a fan of 2-turn attacks. So if you want to run Phantom Force, go ahead, but I thought Shadow Claw would be the best, given that those were the main 2 attacks it got. Other moves it got that I thought were interesting were Rapid Spin, which obviously is a very useful move that's not carried by very many Pokemon, and I'm happy to see it on a bulkier but still viably offensive Pokemon like this. It also gets both Whirlpool and Surf, which I assume is because it's based off of an anchor. So it gets these water type moves that, although they probably will not ever be viable on him, they could be a nice surprise, and I really like that they're sticking with the theme of this Pokemon. It also gets Earthquake and Rock Slide, which, although they're not stab, they're very powerful and very good coverage moves that this monster could carry. And I believe that the Ghost Grass typing is a very, very underrated typing, and we hadn't even seen it until Generation 6 with both Trevenant and Gorgas coming along, and I'm happy to see it coming back in Generation 7 as something brand new that isn't just a possessed tree or a pumpkin. Even though I love both of those Pokemon, I cannot wait to use this monster. I think this guy will go on one of my first teams once the competitive meta of Sun and Moon becomes available, and I just can't wait.